go.
Okay. I've been wanting to do like a podcast thing for so long, dude. But basically, for those who might be watching on Twitch or anything like that, I want to do like an interview thing while we play games and get to know about other people that also like games. So I love video games, but I want to know why other people also love video games. Today, joining me is going to be John, who's listed as Grave in game, or Jonski on Twitch.
Okay, yeah, forget about the in-game name.
Yeah.
I'm John.
Yeah. And I'm going to interview him and ask him why he decided to put me into this hellish game called Elden Ring. Yeah. What?
Oh, fuck!
Okay, so we're just gonna restart right here.
Yeah. Oh, man. Forgot about that one.
So, John, why are we playing Elden Ring? If this...
We're playing Elden Ring today because this game means a lot to me and it holds big personal value in my life. And a little bit later down the line during the interview, I imagine that we'll get to that point. But I have big sentimental value for this game.
Oh, absolutely. So, specifically in Elden Ring, you brought me to this location where I only know Melania is over here. I don't actually know the name of the spot.
Right. So this is Michaelis Hallig Tree. This was meant to be a land of safety for the people called the Albinaurics, but turned into a not very safe location, unfortunately.
Looks like a lot of rot is over here.
Yeah. Right.
This is a rough spot to try to start a conversation.
I know, yeah.
You're like, yeah, we can start the podcast here.
Just run. Just go.
There we go.
That's
there we
a
go.
good.
I'll just summon you here. This is a
That
good
one's
spot.
better.
Personally, Nicola is my favorite character in this game.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Who is
Especially
your...
since, my favorite NPC or boss?
I would definitely just say character as in throughout the game, this person, you were like, you know what? I really vibe with this person.
Well, the person I like the least was Vare, who's the guy who he calls you maidenless at the start of the game. But the person that I liked the most was
Melania?
No, it was her sister. If anyone is watching this,
Renali?
Or
not.
No, it was one of her tentacle sisters. I don't think they were actually related, but she also had red hair and she's dying of scarlet rot.
Okay, okay.
And you follow her throughout the entire game, and you give her a prosthetic arm and stuff.
The maiden.
I guess, yeah, she's not really a maiden, but
She's your maiden.
Personally, yeah.
Yeah, because you have to sacrifice her. What's her story?
Not her. Not her.
Oh,
That's Melina that you're thinking of.
do you like fungus? Is this why the Twitch name is Portobello Mushroom? Is this area specifically?
No. Oh, I just got a mushroom too.
Yeah, this is John's favorite spot.
My favorite spot. Yeah, this is not a great game
This is perfect.
to talk through, but
This is perfect.
we can just mindlessly go through it. We die. Nice.
Queen. We are
Cooking right now.
Yeah, absolutely cooking.
And not talking.
I know. We're focused.
Just kind of locked in. It's one or the other. You play well or talk well.
I know we're playing Elden Ring. What are some other games that you tend to enjoy? What genre of game would you say you're most popular for you at the moment?
So it's kind of a strange thing with me, because I really don't like horror games. However, they tend to have really good stories, and so I kind of find myself gravitating towards horror games unintentionally, even though I have such a sort of aversion to them, because I don't really like scary things, but
Okay, so you like story games, but
usually things like psychological horrors or, you know, things like that. I kind of tend to gravitate towards those. Like, for example, like The Last of Us Part 1, The Last of Us Part 2.
We were just talking about
Those
that
are,
earlier.
yes, so those are psychological horrors.
A zombie
They're
game.
more emotional horrors in a way, but they really resonate with me. And recently, yeah, I just started getting into the Resident Evil series, which I like the story of, but I'm not a big fan of the puzzles because there's too many of them. But regardless, so those are the kind of games that I typically tend to play, is things like that.
That makes sense. So you're in it for the story. Do you play like any shooters or like anything that's like action based, where it's like strictly action and not really based on the story, or do you prefer only story?
So that's an interesting question because you know this. I was into Overwatch for a long time, and I found that it was entertaining gameplay. However, something that I found myself doing was watching those. You know how they would release those little cinematics and the gameplay trailers?
Oh, so you got
for
into Overwatch because of the
characters?
story?
I went into it for the story, which is kind of funny because most people, you know, probably know it for the porn, right?
I mean, that's how I was introduced to it.
Yeah, I saw a thing that was like, I've seen all like 10,000 posts of like Rule 34 Overwatch, but I've never played it. Even though it was, you know, an action shooter, I did definitely get into Overwatch because I saw those cinematics and they were, you know, were really cool. But I play Marvel Rivals right now. I was kind of big into the competitive scene of it for a minute. Kind of growing out of it a little bit right now, but I enjoy it a lot whenever I do get a chance to play. But for that game, I definitely didn't get into it for the story. It was just kind of like the next big game, you know, and you're supposed to be like the Overwatch killer.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about it taking over Overwatch? Do you think that you found it to be more interesting than Overwatch?
It's definitely more interesting gameplay wise. Yeah, it definitely feels better than Overwatch. And I like the characters more. There was something that Overwatch had that was just really special and didn't really feel like it could be replicated. So I wouldn't say that it overtook Overwatch, but it certainly held its ground against it. Kind of became its own thing. Yeah, I was sad to see it go, but then I tried to return to it with you actually, and well, we know how that went. That was not a fun night.
A quick uninstall.
Yeah, literally. But anyways, yeah, I kind of feel like those two games sort of have separate standings. I believe that most people did think that it was supposed to be the, quote, Overwatch killer, but Overwatch is just still going to be popular even if it is dying.
It's had such a long run that no matter how many people might switch games off of it, it'll always have its own core base, like player base.
Yeah. I mean, I was part of it for a while. I was an unbeliever, and then I switched to Rivals for like a couple games, and I was hooked on that. And
So it seems like most of your action shooters that you've experienced are mainly like hero shooters. Have you played other games as well? Like, what'd you grow up on? What was like your initial introduction to gaming?
so my initial introduction to gaming was actually story-based games such as Ocarina of Time, because all the games that I used to play whenever I grew up kind of stemmed from whatever my older brother sort of just passed down or grow out of, right? So we had a Nintendo 64. And
Classic console.
the original Game Boy Color, and on those I played, you know, stupid games like Wario Land and like Mario Pinball on the Game Boy, and then played Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64, Majora's Mask. That people kind of
So huge Nintendo.
before my time. I was a big fan of Nintendo for a long time. I'm still like, I mean, I grew up on Wind Waker as well. Whenever I got my brother's GameCube, it really was just whatever he wasn't using at the time. I left or something, and I would sneak playing it. But he had a GameCube as well, and I think one of my favorite games to this day is still Super Mario Sunshine for the Nintendo GameCube. That and Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. So I've kind of always been like a Mario and Zelda kind of a guy. I was never a Sonic person though. That's kind of like the big three
Sega,
back in the day. I know, but it was kind of Mario, Zelda, and Sonic, and that was pretty much like, I don't know. I feel like that was like the big three back when we were growing up.
So aesthetic doesn't matter as much because you like those, like I would say like Link and Zelda and all that was more cartoony because that's more like Nintendo.
I
But
had
then you
less of a
switch.
preference back in that day, definitely.
What's something you're looking forward to then for like the future of gaming?
So there was this game that looked like a trailer for it a while ago, Project the Perceiver, and it looked really, really cool. It was like feudal Japan, like meets Elden Ring sort of a vibe, and that really looked cool. That was a couple years ago, but of course the next thing that I'm waiting for is Elden Ring 2, if they ever do it, and The Last of Us Part 3 if they ever do it, which people say that, you know, they have their doubts about Part 3 Last of Us, but how can they not at this point, you know? It's been such a successful series. Beautiful story. This goes just conducting a thorough examination of this wall. let's just leave him. Let's just...
Yeah, he's not doing anything wrong. Night Rain came out as like the next Elden Ring-esque styled game from FromSoft.
Yeah.
What was your experience with Night Rain, and how did that turn out compared to Elden Ring?
So, people kind of get on me for this, one of which being, you know, Anthony, but I didn't care for Elden Ring Night Rain, and I realized that it was kind of just Elden Ring's asset placed onto a completely, totally different game, you know, with a different format and different things, but there didn't seem to be that diversity that I liked so much, even though it was like a roguelite or roguelike, whatever you call it, where it's, you know, it's different every time. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like the maps. I didn't like the storm thing. The bosses were tedious and underwhelming, and I just didn't enjoy any of the gameplay elements. The characters and the lore for it was cool, but I think I only beat maybe 2 of the bosses total, and I just couldn't get into it. But yeah, I think I put about 10 or 11 hours into Night Rain, and I really wanted to be into it, and I had all kinds of people who were lined up saying, you know, they wanted to play with me because I got them into Elden Ring, or we played Elden Ring together, and this was like the next big thing. I literally had a guy buy the game for me, and then a guy buy the game to play with me. Yeah, I just couldn't get into it. There was something about it that just wasn't Elden Ring. It just really was a different game that I don't know, it just wasn't what I was looking for. The first Souls game that I played was Dark Souls Remastered in 2018 when it was released, and that's the remastered version of the first game, which you've beaten.
Yeah, no, it was the...
You've beaten all of them.
Except for 2. I don't think any of us played.
Wait, don't go.
So, what got you into Souls? So, I know that you grew up playing, like, Legend of Zelda and some Nintendo games. What made you switch to the Dark Souls? Was it just...
So, I've always liked medieval fantasy stuff, and I had seen the trailer for it, because I had known what Dark Souls was based off of videos of people comparing other games to it, saying, this is like Dark Souls meets this game, or they would say that this game is comparable to Dark Souls whenever it comes to difficulty. And I was very interested because everybody would say at the time that Dark Souls, you know, was the hardest game ever made and that it was super unfair and brutal. And I'm always up for a challenge, and so I had seen a streamer play it who I was really into at the time, and I was like, you know what? Okay, if he's playing it, then something's going on and we need to get into this. So
who was the streamer, if you don't mind me asking?
His name is Elijah's, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's ELA JJZ, and he speedruns Dark Souls, and he's really, really good at it.
Was that his only games that he likes to play?
Yeah, but that streamer, I mean, he likes all Souls games. He plays them all, you know, whenever they come out, and speedruns them. But he also really likes God of War. Just that entire series. He likes Persona. He likes Yakuza, whatever. Yeah. Mafia style, like Japanese game, which actually he also got me to play Yakuza, Yakuza 0 in particular, because he loves that one the most.
What is your favorite game? Is it Elden Ring that we're currently playing, or is it in contest with some other games?
Elden Ring was my favorite game from 2022. I pre-ordered this game. I'd heard about it. Well, I had heard about Elden Ring from the E3 2019 trailer, and it was a very simple trailer. Showed Millennia, and I always thought that she was the coolest looking character, Radahn, in the trailer, and it was pretty simple. It was like, coming who knows when, Elden Ring, and I was like, wow, that looks really, really cool. I should give this game a shot. And so I pre-ordered it, I bought the game, and I played it in February during like the network test, February 2022. It became my favorite game because I loved Elden Ring, but the reason it became my favorite game at the time was because I had been kind of going through some sort of struggles with, like, I had some medical problems going on at the time. I had gotten a condition called gastritis, which was like kind of like when your stomach lining becomes like red and inflamed because of irritation, and it can come about in all sorts of ways, but the most common is alcohol, I think food poisoning, and just like consumption of just unhealthy foods and stuff like that. I've never been like a super unhealthy person, but I definitely gave myself gastritis unwillingly, and so I had to get surgery for it. And at the exact same time as needing surgery for this thing, I had to take the ACT, which was coming up. I had tutoring, and I also had finals for school. I was working a job, and I had also just broken up with my girlfriend.
Wow, it sounds like it hit
So
all of the markers.
yeah, it was kind of tough. There was a lot going on, to say the least. Oh yeah, and I got sick too. Oh, and I also had my wisdom teeth taken out, so I couldn't chew food. And I forgot to mention this, but gastritis, a symptom of it is you feel nauseous all the time. And so everywhere I went and everything I did all the time, all hours of the day, I would feel like I was about to throw up. And that's like the thing that you get from this like medical problem. Because I mean, your stomach lining is so red and so inflamed that it literally triggers your like reflex to feel like you're about to vomit and stuff. And keeping down food is really difficult. And so with that, my anxiety really spiked. And because I got sick and everything, on top of that, it was just all these things really just piled up. And I had just gotten Elden Ring, and I started playing it, and I noticed that all my problems, because I lost like 20 pounds because I just couldn't eat anything, and I was already skinny to begin with. I was light, but with all these things going on, I realized that while I was playing Elden Ring, I wasn't thinking about my problems, and the pain would go away. And so this boss here, the one that we're about to go and fight, means the most to me because she required the most focus, and so she would take me out of my like kind of world of suffering, so much so that it made it so that I wouldn't feel pain at all because I was so focused. I was like, I have to beat this boss, and I would die and die and die to millennia. But when it got to the point where I was good enough to beat her, I really didn't want it to end, and I felt bad. I beat her, and then I spent hours and hours and hours just fighting with other players who would summon me, and friends and everybody else. And it was just like my little thing that I would go, and if I was feeling really bad, I would come and I would fight Millennia, or I would just play Elden Ring for a little while. Because this was really the only game that I had at the time, or that I wanted to play. Yeah, and it had just come out. And so it just kind of brought me out of this, this darkness and this pain that I was feeling all the time, where it's just impossible to eat, and I felt like I was going to throw up all the time. And I was sick, and all that lasted for a couple months, maybe 2 to 3 months. The sickness went away, and my wisdom teeth they healed and they got better. But the gastritis thing, it still hasn't fully healed because it's kind of a mental block. It's a lot of it does have to do with your mental, because something like that happens, right, and it kind of messes with your head. Yeah, there's still a mental recovery that's kind of involved in that. But something that I started playing recently and I'd never seen or heard anything about, shockingly, was The Last of Us. Part 1 of The Last of Us, because my friend recommended it to me, and he said, I think you'd really like this game. It's kind of up your alley. It's a little bit dark, and and I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. And so I tried it. I was pretty much sold from the first. If you've played The Last of Us Part 1, which you have, I had you play it the other night, whenever you came over. But just the introduction to that game was so moving, and it was so profound, and it just really hits you hard. Especially, you were with me, so it was a little bit goofy. We were kind of messing around. But had you have been by yourself on a late evening and stuff, and especially have maybe having things going on in your life that are about loss and pain and trauma and that kind of thing, seeing that reflected perfectly through your screen it's jarring, and it really hits hard. And at the time, that's exactly what it was for me. That's kind of like my mindset was going into The Last of Us. So recently, Last of Us Part 1 and Last of Us Part 2 have kind of overtaken Elden Ring as my favorite games, because they're kind of situational, right? Because I was going through a big tough time during Elden Ring, and it took me out of that. And for Last of Us, it's less of it taking me out of my pain, but it's more of me being able to relate to it and kind of grapple with it.
Yeah, because the main character goes through a huge loss, and so you're experiencing that same loss.
Yeah, well, I can't compare anything that I've done or lost to what Joel or what Ellie have lost over the course of The Last of Us. But you know, no matter the magnitude of your pain, it's still
Yeah, it's
you
human
can't
to.
undermine it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
human to feel empathy, even if it is video game characters.
Yeah, they do a great job at humanizing everybody, and it is seriously a sight to behold. You should watch this cutscene.
Oh, absolutely.
I dreamt for so long. My flesh was dull gold, and my blood rotted. Corpse after corpse left in my wake. As I awaited his return. Heed my words. I am Melania, Blade of Mikola. And I have never known defeat.
Get ready to dodge.
I forgot how hard she is.
Ooh.
I was about to get on your butt for a little bit, but I know you're probably focused on this woman.
Oh, you can talk.
But I'm surprised you haven't said anything about the Elder Scrolls series, because I know that it's also been something that you've been a
That
huge
was
fan of.
oh, easily. The only reason I haven't said much about it. I thought she was on me. The only reason I haven't talked too much about it is because I kind of played. You know what? So I got a little bit more exposure recently with the release of the Oblivion remake,
Mhm.
because Oblivion is the fourth game in the series. It's Elder Scrolls 4,
Mhm.
and then the fifth game was Skyrim, and Oblivion was my favorite one, and I played that growing up. You know, because it was my brother's game. I played it at a friend's house also whenever I was really young. Even though the game came out in 2006, it was still something that I really cherished and spent hundreds of hours just grinding and making different characters, all kinds of different classes, custom stuff. I never liked mods. I always just liked playing the base game, did all the quests, all the guilds, all the side missions. I did all that stuff, and that was really interesting, but it never held any sentimental value to me besides just being something that I really enjoyed. Especially kept me kind of away from talking about that was my dislike for Skyrim. Skyrim, in my opinion, is a lot more commercialized, I suppose, in comparison to Oblivion, where it was just kind of like, I don't know, Oblivion felt real and it felt consistent, and it was stupid, and it didn't really. Ooh, nice. it didn't really work very well. It was kind of a silly game. Everything looked stupid, and everybody looked very silly in that game. Even though
Holy
Skyrim
shit.
was more technically advanced and whatnot, it just didn't feel right. There's a lot of that with me in video games, where it's this feeling that's just Skyrim kind of just felt like the next game in the series rather than a passion project that made by the developer specifically because of the love for the franchise and the genre.
So you liked Oblivion just simply because it was a good game.
It was janky, but it felt like there was love behind it, you know?
Did you play Elden Ring before you played Oblivion, or did you?
No, I played Oblivion first. I played Oblivion in 2014
Mhm.
at a friend's house when I was a kid, and then I returned to it as I got older, and I had bought it for myself on the Xbox 360 in 2017 or 2018 or something like that. I bought it only recently on PC just to kind of relive the experience, and I sank a good couple of hours into it for sure. And then yeah, I got a little bit more of exposure recently with the release of the remake, which is nice because they loved it, it deserves, because the game really was special. It is special. The whole locked in thing really reinforces my point earlier though, which is that you really do need to focus, and you kind of just lose yourself in this game, And that's my favorite part about games, is how you just kind of lose yourself, and then
Like-
for a second you're not here anymore. You're in the game.
Yeah, like Eminem. Never lose yourself.
You gotta lose yourself in the video game, man, and never let go. Never let it go.
Absolutely. What are some other things you might be interested in outside of video games then? Like what sort of like entertainment or genre do you find yourself heading back to more often than not?
So, so this is like an interesting topic for me, because recently I've been kind of, I've had a bit of an aversion to, I think we talked a bit about this when you came over the other day, but I have a bit of an aversion to entertainment in general. Primarily things like Instagram and just that whole thing, like constant entertainment all the time. I was riding the bus the other day at college, and I was just staring out the window like usual, and I don't usually have headphones or anything, but I looked around the bus and I counted one person out of like the 20 people who were on that bus who was not on his phone. One person.
Oh
And
snap.
everybody else was scrolling and just scrolling, and it looked like they were just mindlessly doing it. And I'm the kind of person who likes silence a lot,
Mhm.
and I get kind of overstimulated, if just a lot of stuff's going on. I can't scroll for hours at a time. I can't just binge watch YouTube or anything like that. I like to eat in silence. I don't watch anything when I eat, and that may seem, bizarre to some people, but it's probably just a product of how I was raised. I mean, I can eat with people, that's okay, but the thing is that when it comes to other forms of entertainment, whether it's for the future or whatnot,
Mhm.
I kind of tend to stay away from that sort of a thing, because I just believe that there's sort of an oversaturation of that. I mean, there may be an oversaturation of everything these days, but I think entertainment especially, people just kind of, they live on it. If there's not a constant stream of funny sound effects and flashing lights, then they can't live their day-to-day life. Goodness. But yeah, that's something that I'm a little bit nervous about, or maybe not nervous, just concerned about for the future, which is just constant enjoyment and serotonin releases in the brain and stuff. I don't know, I feel like people aren't going to be able to enjoy their normal lives if they don't have Instagram on 24/7 or something like that, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of foreign to just say that you read or you have hobbies these days, because it seems like a lot of conversation and social, like the social aspect these days is a lot of just kind of recycled humor that you see on Instagram or YouTube or the news or something, right? Like somebody says 6'7" and everybody laughs, and you're just kind of expected to know what all that stuff is, right? Because people just kind of assume that you're on those platforms, and that just doesn't sound healthy to me. People are free to do whatever they like, but when it comes to entertainment, I like to stay away, honestly. I like video games for the experience, but sometimes it's just too much.
What? It looked like you were about to throw up for a second.
Probably was. It's a lot of physical exertion. I had a big lunch.
It's that frog in your throat. It's all that lazel you've been eating now.
Just shut up, man.
How's Baldur's Gate been treating you? It's just yet another
that's
game.
Right. I completely forgot about Baldur's Gate. I wouldn't even say that that's like one of my favorite games ever. It's probably top 5. It's probably top 5. That was just another thing where it was like it wasn't a big sentimental sort of piece of life. It was more of just I really enjoyed this game, and you know, it's interesting and there's a lot of different paths. So I'm on my 3rd run right now. I'm about to beat it.
Who's your favorite character in Baldur's Gate?
NPC?
Yeah. I mean, technically they're playable characters. But it could be companions either. I would say companions first, then NPCs.
Probably Lazel.
So do you typically like end your day with video games? They're not really a stress reliever. What would you say video games are in your life? Reliever, because the games you've mentioned are like Dark Souls, Elden Ring.
Oh, they're very stressful.
They're very stressful games.
I like the I like the action. I like the but I do like the story mainly. I do not use video games to end my day, primarily because I don't like to bring my computer up whenever I stay at on campus, my apartment. But whenever I come back, back home, then I like to play video games. I like to give myself like an hour or so before bed, where I don't do anything. I have no screen time at all. I just eat or it's not good to eat before bed, but eat or just do some simple reading or like breathing exercises and just kind of do my nightly routine. But what video games are to me, it has changed drastically over the ages, because it used to be a socializing sort of a thing where I would only play video games if it were with other people. There's been times where it's that I like the social part, or the solo aspects, what I mean to say, where it's just a single player campaign and you progress through it. Their action, their story, their experiences, they're pretty much everything. It can be anything.
It's kind of like movies, like normal entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanna try to beat Millennia as our little ending or not, or if you have some more things to share.
Finish it out, man. But yeah, I mean, video games just in general, they're kind of everything. They can be every single emotion, but at the end of the day, they're just numbers and lights on the screen, right? And so they're kind of everything and they're nothing at all. Yeah, I would refrain from letting video games have influence on my life, because it's kind of a temporary thing where you transport yourself into a world, kind of like with a book. If you want to change your personality over a book, or maybe you wouldn't. Depends on how good the book was. If it's for your benefit and you really did learn something like of value in a game, then you should apply that to your life as you see fit. But video games are pretty, they're pretty extreme. So it's kind of hard to incorporate things from video games into your life, especially the games that I play. Very morally blinding kind of games. It's like, kill one person that you love with, more than the entire world. You have to kill them to sacrifice them for the greater good of humanity, or are you gonna, not save them? That's kind of impossible to apply to your life. But there's subtle things. I've never learned anything from Elden Ring that I've been able to take home with me.
No, I think it was just a great story to appreciate.
Right, yeah, it just kind of took me out of life.
Trying to spit poison at it.
I mean, if this was my world, I would be probably three-shotting her.
Oh, we both got it.
Oh my gosh, and it did both damn. Alright, run away. I'm gonna get you with it. On me. Yes. Yes. See, she like spins around.
neither. I still think her proportions are really off. Very uncanny valley for me. It's because she's all of her stuff is robotic in this medieval world. So all of her limbs and stuff are all prosthesis.
Her arms are prosthetic, but she's succumbed to Scarlet Heart. I wanted to dodge that correctly, but I still did it. Wow, big bleed, huh?
Yeah, maybe we won't beat her this one.
Oh.
Extraordinary.
Yay!
See, I was nerfing you the whole time, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, this is where I think we end the podcast. I'm gonna try to interview more people in the future and try to expand it and create more podcasts in this type of format where I get to, interview somebody, get to learn about them and how they experience games. And if you have any last remarks, I'm gonna shout out your Twitch and stuff like that if you want me to. Maybe your YouTube edits that no one knows about.
Oh yeah, my secret little YouTube edits.
Yeah.
You only get one shot at life, so just try to live it to your fullest extent. Pain is good sometimes, but not too much of it. And yeah,
Absolutely.
don't do drugs.
Well, thanks for joining me and thanks for joining on the stream.
Yeah.